It is holiday season. Let's find out where people are staying and booking. We have with us Rohit Khosla, Executive Vice President Operations, IHCL. Kunal Chauhan, General Manager, the Leela Palace, Bangalore. Anand Singh Shekhawat, Regional General Manager, Aman, India. Thank you all so much for joining us over the weekend. Before we start the questions on our 7-star property sold out, I want to ask you, how was the pandemic for all of you? Were all of you cooking in the kitchen, helping out in the house, using all your housekeeping skills?
Good evening, Ambika. Thank you for having me over. In fact, you're absolutely right. The pandemic taught us all a lot. And yes, as all of us we will have great family life, we need to maintain a happy family life. So for that, all of us, yes, I'm sure, were involved in taking care of the house and all the other activities involved with it.
Wonderful. All right. So the question goes to you, Anand. Are your properties sold out for the holiday season since they're 7-star properties that you manage?
Well, yes. Aman globally has been doing fantastic. We, in fact, our core values have always been space, privacy, and giving the ultimate time to reflect among themselves, in fact. And that has helped us. Our pool pavilions and are super hit, in fact, and people have been loving them. Privacy and personalized service has always been a hit. So yes, Aman in general has been doing fantastic. So Amanikas, Aman Bagh, which are gems in India. Borobudur, we have Aman Geo, which is doing fantastic. Aman in Tokyo has been performing exceptionally well as well.
When you say fantastic, what kind of occupancy are we looking at?
We're looking at 80 plus occupancy. So these are definitely better than what 2019 had given us, and definitely above what 2020 budgets were as well.
That is great news. Kunal, yes, take us through the story at the Leela Palace properties. Are you witnessing 80% occupancies at your 7-star resorts as well?
So, yes, you are in our resort locations in Goa and Udaipur, especially during this holiday season, we'll be sold out. Last 3 months have also not been too bad, with occupancy ranging from higher 60% to 80% at both the destinations. City hotels would be a different story, with the pandemic actually bringing about a bit of change in the length of stay as well as booking windows. We expect to be closer to higher 70s and 60% occupancy over this festive weekend, only close to the dates. Nobody's booking out that far advance in the cities.
All right. Rohit, what's your observation? Are all your 7-star properties sold out as well?
Thank you, Ambika. Well, we are very fortunate that we work for India's strongest brand, Taj. As you know, IHCL has over 234 hotels, which are across brands like Taj, Selections, Vivanta, and Ginger and Amma. And in the Taj brand, we have hotels, palaces, resorts, and safaris. So the Taj brand is our brand, which is a luxury brand. And as you're aware, we have the palaces, which are, I would say, beyond 7-star, because no star classification can really do justice to what you experience in a living palace. So yes, our palaces and our resort hotels are doing exceedingly well. As we speak today, you will not get a room in our hotels in Taj Exotica in Goa, or in the Umaid Bhavan Palace in Jodhpur, or the Lake Palace in Udaipur, or the Rambagh Palace in Jaipur. So what we have here, Ambika, is that the palaces are doing exceedingly well. Our resorts are doing exceedingly well. City hotels, yes, on the weekends, we get a lot of good business on staycations. But other than that, leisure destinations are doing excellent. The Taj Rishikesh Resort and Spa is doing fantastic business. It's actually doing better than pre-COVID levels. And also is the Taj Theo Resort and Spa in Simla.
All right. Anand, what do you think is the reason that people are packing their bags and heading out to 7-star properties?
I think it's the sense of comfort what we create. As I can speak for Aman, we have always spoken about privacy, giving that true pure experience. And most of our hotels are resorts are in remote locations, so that allows guests to reflect back, go back and think, connect to the culture and traditions, in fact. So that has helped us. There's a lot of family travel which is happening as well. So people want to spend time together, in groups of 3-4 rooms traveling together, having a nice little quiet time by their pool, private pool. And that has helped us attain our occupancies as well. We had to adopt.
So you all created
Yes,
a
please.
bubble at the property.
We had to, in fact, and that was the need. And we have to change as per the needs of our guests who are traveling.
All right. Kunal, I was at a 7-star property on the 15th of March when the lockdown was going to be announced in a few days. And the staff at a property, don't worry, it wasn't yours, but the staff at the property was very worried because I think they are on contracts, and they were worried if the contracts would be extended or will they be let go of. So how did you all manage? I begin with you, Kunal, during the lockdown at least. So what did you do from an HR point of view?
So yes, it was a worry, and it was a real worry for most of the employees. Lucky for us, we are in still a very good expansion mode, and what we were able to achieve mostly was by redeployment of a lot of workforce, especially in Bangalore. We have another hotel coming up. We could easily shift a bit of our manpower to that hotel. More importantly, I think as it unfolded from the lockdown stage, people realized that just because of the nature of this pandemic and the illness itself, we had to figure out a way to rotate people in a manner that we are, in case of somebody showing any symptoms, you have to bring in a team 2 and team 3, just because of the cycle of the illness, right? From the point of somebody displaying a symptom to the testing, and whether even if the person was cleared, you have to take the whole team out just because of contact tracing. So it was quite an intensive exercise. And like you were asking, if we all got time to cook and do a bit of cooking at home, fortunately, some of the hotels like us, we were open throughout the entire pandemic. And yeah, we had a lot of cooking to do at the hotel itself.
All right. Rohit, what did you all do at IHCL from a HR point of view?
Well, as you know, Ambika, this is the biggest black swan event that has hit the industry, and the travel and tourism industry has taken the brunt of this particular pandemic and the economic impact. So yes, we had our colleagues in various managed properties who are either contractual or casual outsourced employees who we had to temporarily disconnect with. And so what we did actually in our company, we've had voluntary salary contributions that we made that range from 10% to 30%. Now this amount of money was then diverted to the Taj Public Service Welfare Trust, which we have set up, which basically gave sustenance allowance to the people who had lost jobs during the pandemic. And so we have impacted over 7,000 people and paid out over 20 crores over the pandemic for people who are working with us to sustain themselves during the pandemic and till the time we are able to get them back to work. So we have done that, and their safety and security for us is paramount. So we have a COVID Marshal app that ensures that everybody who's in the hotel has been properly tested and is staying like a bio bubble in the hotel so that we keep our guests safe and we keep our colleagues safe.
All right. Any tourism trends? This is a question for all of you. Anand, I begin with you. Any tourism trends that you witnessed during this period and which you think will be taken forward in a post-pandemic world?
Well, post-pandemic world will be equally, in fact, amazing. That's what is expected. So we look at right now what we have seen is people traveling domestically, and then the kind of travel what we have foreseen or we never expected it to be at these levels, in fact, and that shows that people want to travel. They want to connect back to the culture, to the traditions, and to the societies, in fact. And for us, I think that will happen. People will go back rediscovering themselves into the remotest of places, and will definitely complete their wish list of places to visit, in fact. So we feel that 2021 end will be back to normal. Yes, we as hoteliers will have to be very, very cautious in terms of safety, because that will continue to be the primary and the most important factor, which will in fact bring our tourists back.
Kunal, what about you?
So, as far as I'm concerned, I see that at the beginning of this pandemic, most of these trends, whether it's the successful functioning of destinations which are located very close to or drivable distances from metro cities to do well, was forecasted. Staycation as a trend beginning in city hotels was forecasted, and we can see that that's the only thing which is keeping most of the city hotels busy and occupied. Work from home, you already know of how many companies are considering it or have reduced the amount of employees that have to work from an office already as a trend. Apart from that, I think what has happened is health and safety concerns have been brought to the fore. People not only will be satisfied with us saying that we are a five-star hotel, but actually hotels like us, which have lost very in-depth safety and security and hygiene protocols. We were always in ISO 2200, which is the best benchmarking in terms of food safety and safety concerns. But what we've all done is, at least Leela Hotels, we've gone with Bureau Veritas. So not only can we say that we are even prepared for COVID level of standards, but we have documentation and audits available to be a platinum classified hotel. So that will be a very important consideration whenever anybody's planning any kind of a travel. Use of technology is another thing which has come up. Hotels have always been laggards when it comes to technology, but this one push has diverted entire attention, where guests will now demand from us an option to choose the amount of contact they wish to have with the entire hotel. There'll be guests who will want extreme amount of contact and want the luxury travel to continue the way it was, but there'll be guests who will choose to ask us for technology options to limit the kind of contact that they have with all the employees. Booking trends have changed. A lot has changed for us. Even from the moment of our what is expected from our social cause and what we do, people are seeing these online before they book hotels. They're looking at your carbon footprints, and that's a very good change.
And what about you, Rohit? What are your views? What are the key trends that you have observed, how you all have been operating as a full occupancy chain, or at least in some of the hotels? What are the lessons you've learned which you think will be carried forward in a post-pandemic world?
See, Ambika, I think we all are quite aware of the reality that international tourism is going to take some time for us to pick up. And the international travel will, come back maybe second quarter or third quarter of the next financial year. We would start to see some green shoots then. So basically, it is down to domestic demand and domestic travel. So the trend obviously is in domestic. When we look at the leisure destinations, we are seeing a huge pickup on that. As you know, the Taj has, iconic properties, and there are many on the checkbox or the tick box or the must-do list of many people. And this is the time when people have been trying to go out of their houses after 9 months of lockdown and drive to a place. So we have an offer which is called 4D, which is Dream, Discover, Drive and Delight, which is doing exceedingly well for our resort locations. And we see that domestic tourism is definitely on the rise, not as groups, but as individuals. The second thing that we see as a trend that continues to help us survive the pandemic is the great Indian wedding. Unfortunately, it's no longer the big fat Indian wedding because the big has got reduced due to restrictions, but we have a lot more smaller weddings that are happening with many more. And so therefore, the wedding business has given us the boost in the last couple of months. So that has also helped us to improve our occupancies. Besides this, like my colleagues were saying, there are multinational corporations have been looking at continuity of business, because the pandemic has this with the lockdown, unlock, lock, unlock. It's very unpredictable. In order to ensure business continuity, a lot of our MNC clients have been booking our hotels to ensure that their business goes on as usual, whether there are any restrictions or not. So staycations, like already mentioned, is very important. But this basically, Ambika, deals with the rooms part. But what we have seen very importantly for us is that the food and beverage business is something that has helped us to keep our head above the water in many cases. we have launched our app called Human app, which is getting Taj at home. So we have over 60 restaurants of our brands that deliver food over the app to your residences. So can you imagine, in the comfort of your home, you have great food coming in from the Golden Dragon or the House of Ming or even the Capital Kitchen in New Delhi. So there is this huge impetus on hospitality at home and takeaway and home delivery, which is something that we see as a trend that will continue. Virtual celebrations is also being launched on the same Human app platform, where board meetings or office get-togethers or even social get-togethers, including weddings, are being done on the virtual platform, for which we are catering to our clients across multiple destinations in the country into their residences of their guests. So a totally new business model has emerged out of this crisis, and we believe that food and beverage will continue to evolve and help the industry to overcome the negative impact that has been caused by the pandemic.
Clearly, your tech team has been on top of it. Rohit, before I say goodbye to all of you, if you could all tell us about your best-selling property during the pandemic. Anand? All right. Okay, Anand, I was going to bid you all farewell, but before I do that, I wanted to know your bestseller property during the pandemic.
Well, the bestseller for us have been Aman Jivo. Aman Jivo is right bank opposite to Borobudur, and Indonesians, in fact, especially people from Jakarta, have been traveling there extensively. Aman Puri, which is in Phuket, have performed exceptionally well, and this is all I'm talking about domestic market. In India, we have two beautiful gems, Aman Bagh, which is only 4 hours drive from Delhi, and then the other one is just a 10-tent property called Amanikas, which is on fringes of Ranthambore National Park. So Ranthambore has done exceptionally well.
Okay.
We only have 10 tents, so slightly, not much, in fact,
All right.
Of guests, but yes.
Well, good to know.
Thank you so much.
What about you,
Yes.
Kunal? If you could tell us a bestseller from the House of Leela Hotels.
Since the last 2-3 years, what has happened is the Leela Palace Hotels and Resorts ranked in one of the top 5 hotels on Travel and Leisure worldwide surveys. Last year, it became world's #1 brand, and especially Leela Palace Udaipur, which got rated as #1 and in the top 5 constantly.
I've been there. It is a beautiful property. And Rohit, what about you? I'm sure you have a tough choice, but your #1 property.
Very, very difficult choice, Ambika. You're absolutely right. Our palace hotels continue to do exceedingly well. In fact, our Taj Safari lodges that we have for wildlife tourism in Madhya Pradesh also are doing exceedingly well. Besides the Taj Exotica brand, whether it is in Goa, whether it is in the Andaman Islands, or whether it is in the Maldives, the Taj Exotica brand is also doing exceedingly well. So it's difficult to pick up one, but all I can say is that,
so everybody
yes,
basically wants to go as far out as possible, and you've been able to provide a destination. All of you, thank you so much. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, Ambika.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ambika.